Welcome to the Diary of Discovery, the podcast where we delve deep into the human experience of healing and transformation. I'm your host, Jacky, and each week we will sit down with inspiring individuals who have embarked on their own personal journeys of healing and self-discovery. From overcoming trauma to navigating life's challenges, our guests share their raw and honest stories, offering insights, wisdom, and hope to all who tune in. So grab your favorite cup of tea, find a cozy spot, and join us as we uncover the power of resilience, courage, and the pursuit of authenticity. This is the Diary of Discovery. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I am super excited to have another incredible guest, and I'll hand over straight away. Tell everyone who you are and where you are in the world.
I'm Anthony Knott, and I'm in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Amazing. Okay, so anyone who's been listening to the podcast for the last 2 years will know how excited I get when we have male guests because we don't have enough of them, and it's always so wonderful to have you come on and share this journey. So, massive thank you from us over here in the podcast world. We always start with the same question, which is, where did you actually start your healing journey? So, what happened for you as that first sort of moment, line in the sand of actually something needs to change and life can't go on like this?
Well, it was a big one. It was a big moment. And my wife might have spoke about this previously as well, which is I got cancer a couple of years ago, got bladder cancer. Um, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in a bit more detail, but ultimately getting a diagnosis like that, um, I'd be surprised if anyone sort of just takes that on board and just sort of, water for ducks back. It's gonna have quite an impact on a lot of things, a lot of ways in which you think about your circumstances, your life in general. And it really was that. It was almost like a splash of cold water in the face, I suppose. Yeah, how else do I put it? I think at the time, once that sort of I realized what I was dealing with, my sort of circumstances in that moment, sort of questioned a lot of things. Started questioning sort of or thinking more about, sorry, the fragility of life, and really, is it worth just sort of plodding along? That's what it really gets to at the end of this conversation. That's what it boils down to. I was plodding along, just going through the motions, that kind of thing, and then yeah, from that moment, it was like, yeah, time to grab the bull by the horn, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it must be such a hard thing. I know, we've had cancer diagnoses in my family, so never for me, but being the third party to that is really hard. But
Yeah.
I think wrapping your head around being the actual person, I don't think you can ever prepare yourself for what that one might feel like and getting that message and how that might affect you.
I'd be hard pushed to find anyone that can. I certainly couldn't. Um, yeah, I think I'm quite a considerate person, but it is a completely different level of experience when you're actually in it and you're faced with that realization. And this is you who's affected. You can be as empathetic and sympathetic and all those things till the cows come home when it's someone else. And yes, it is difficult. Of course it is. And, my wife will attest to that as well. I'm looking like she's in the room. She's not. Our chair's there. So I'm just looking across as if she's sat next to it. um, always watching. Um, she's talked openly about these experiences. And I think that's important actually to get the message out there, that the person who goes through it isn't just the only person who's dealing with it. People around you are dealing with it in their own way. Um, and they will obviously naturally try to support the person who's been diagnosed, going through it. But there is an experience on that they're having as well that is also quite negative and quite upsetting and hard to deal with. And I think there needs to be a bit more awareness around that, and people need to be a bit more kinder to themselves and those around them as well. They also deserve some support, I suppose is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a medical diagnosis. It's such a different kind of start to a healing journey, I think, because it's not like a slow burn. It's just like an immediate, as you said,
Yeah,
cold water to the face. It just happens so fast.
definitely.
And it is that question everything, what is going on? And I guess I'd love to know what was the biggest thing that you had to kind of embrace about yourself and like get to know about yourself as you went through one of the hardest journeys that you'll probably go through in your life? Like, what did that look like?
I think the the approach that I took off the back of finding out was a lesson in itself, really. There are ways to deal with something like this that are personal and valid. It doesn't matter which way you go about it. It's all valid because it's a personal experience and we're all built differently, and no one can be questioned for dealing with something as traumatic as this in certain ways. Of course, there are healthier ways and less healthy ways to deal with it. And I try to be as healthy as possible about it, which sounds like a bit of an oxymoron when you're talking about getting a cancer diagnosis and then throwing in that you're trying to be healthy. But that was really it. So trying to be proactive, trying to stay front footed and positive throughout the experience. Because at the end of the day, I was told up front, this doesn't have to be a death sentence. A lot of people actually recover from this and live long, healthy lives from it. And that's what I latch onto. I thought, well, if that's the case, then there's no point worrying too much about it. We deal with the situation, we deal with the challenges that are coming as they come, rather than sit back and worry and, you know, like I could have sat and thought, this is really unfair. Why is this happening to me? I don't think I've done anything to deserve it. And I could have spiraled, and I've even had conversations with friends who said like they probably would have went that sort of route. And I just thought it's not for me. It doesn't serve anyone, least of all me. So really, it was about being more positive and front-footed. And in that during that process, I learned a lot about myself and what I'm actually capable of when I adopt that mindset. And I've carried that forward beyond the sort of the dealing with cancer now. Um, it now influences a lot of my decisions in life, including my career aspirations as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I do think, as you said, like everyone goes on their own personal journey, don't they? Like some people take longer to come around to that place of, okay, I'm actually going to actively do something about this. Some people need to process for longer than others. Some people move straight to action, and it's like a question of like, are they actually dealing with it, or are they just kind of, like actively pushing through? And like,
Mm,
I think that there is no one way to heal. Like there is no one way to go through
no.
any experience because, as you said, everyone is different. Everyone processes at different rates. Everyone deals with things in different ways. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I guess from what you've said, like, were there moments of just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I can't believe that this is happening. Like, I'm not sure I'm gonna make it. Like, because that all sounded like super positive. Like, this was like not actually that bad a journey, but like, I don't
Yeah.
think that that is actually the case. So, like, tell us about the other end of the spectrum where like like things weren't going how you wanted.
I mean, we're all human. Emotions aren't sort of stable, are they? Like you'll have those peaks and troughs regardless of the circumstances. And yeah, this one was a biggie, obviously. And those moments did need to be navigated. They didn't. I don't feel like there was any real rhyme or reason for when those moments emerged. It was just sort of, and every now and again, it would just be a sort of a. I used to think of it almost like an out of body experience where you're sort of looking at yourself and thinking, whoa, like this is your current situation. Like this is mega. Like this is huge, and not in a good way. Um, and yeah, there were times where I was challenged by it. On the plus side, obviously, I'm married to Kirsty, and we we've got a bit of a yin and yang thing going on, and it really benefited us to have each other's backs, especially in those moments. And I was just talking about before about the fact that, partners and family members, friends, they can also be affected by these things. And she absolutely was. And she talks openly about this. And it was those moments where I found myself stepping up. The difficulty with that was because she's not the person who's been diagnosed, she would beat herself up over it. Well, I'm not the one that's actually I'm not the one that's actually suffering and has this condition. And it's like, it doesn't matter. That's not the issue that we're dealing with right now. The issue is you're upset, you're feeling it, and that's all that matters. And right now we're going to sort of work through that. Um, and it was that. It was a back and forth. Concept was like a rally in tennis. Like every now and again, I would drop, she would pick us up, and vice versa. And it really helped us out to have that dynamic for it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think having that healthy relationship where you guys can do that for each other and actually support each other in that way, it makes such a difference to
Mhm.
what the end outcome is.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that like going through the cancer diagnosis, going through the process of, coming into remission, like all of that, I'm guessing would have strengthened that ability between the two of you.
Ah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, I do think that. I haven't really thought about that actually, whether that's true or not. But now that you ask the question, I think definitely, definitely and it goes back to what I was saying before about it being a bit of a lesson. Like I learned things about myself. We've learned things about ourselves as a couple, and we've yeah, it's definitely strengthened our bonds, strengthened our um confidence, our knowledge of ourselves, and how we can adapt. And it's it's given us more courage to try new things. Like we're both self-employed now, and this whole situation, it all came about when we were looking to go self-employed, when we were setting up the business for the first time. Expansions coaching, there's the plug. Um, and she was just striking out on our own, self-employed for the first time ever. I was due to follow suit when the timing was right, but then this happened, and it just complicated matters. Like it's the most it's the worst kind of complication you could have, really. Like, oh, we're going to go self-employed, we're going to have all these risks and challenges to deal with financially and what have you, and then all of a sudden, bang, like a medical diagnosis like this is not the thing that you want. It's like someone dropping a hand grenade into the situation. But it again, it all just added to that development of, that robustness and the way in which we realized we could support each other and navigate these situations and coming out the other end feeling fine. Like I feel great now. I've got um no regrets about any of the decisions I made looking back. And I think that's a big one, actually. I think we talk about how valid a person's reaction is and how they respond to these situations, and it is. But out of all those reactions that you could take, which ones are you going to look back and think, I'm glad I did that? I think that's key for where we're at, because we can look back and say we did the right thing and we did the right thing by each other. And I think that's really helped us along as well.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. Again, like I think that is when you go self-employed, like particularly, there is so much uncertainty. And there
Mm.
is so much that is different from being employed. And I think a lot of people don't understand all of the bits and pieces and the mindset work that goes into it. And like it's not just I'm just gonna strike out here and make some
This will
money.
be
Like
fun.
it's yeah, exactly. It seems fun, it'll be fine. It's a much kind of bigger shift. And I think going through like such a huge identity shift at the same time of trying to do the identity shift of employed to self-employed, like those are two huge identity shifts that
You've
are
nailed it
all
there.
happening
Yeah.
at once. Like it's quite a lot going on. And I guess like when you went through the process and kind of whether it is the cancer journey or like now coming into the self-employed journey, which we'll talk a bit more about that in a second as well, because I think that both of them are really valid. But what was your biggest outlook change on life? Like you've mentioned a couple of kind of big things already. Like what would you say like your biggest outlook change on life was from like before to now?
I think what I was just touching on just before there with the whole having a bit more courage, having a bit more confidence, feeling a bit more self-assured. We dealt with so much because we had to, but once we dealt with it, it was like, yeah, we managed that all right, actually. Yeah, we're doing all right. And we sort of carry that attitude forward. This is going to sound really weird to say, but there is times where I think about getting that diagnosis and living through that experience almost as a bit of a blessing, in that it forced us into a situation that I wouldn't have been in ordinarily, where I was making decisions and where I was being put on the spot to make decisions and how I'm going to move forward and navigate those challenges. And like I said, I joked on before about plodding along. Like if I hadn't had that diagnosis, yes, we were talking about setting up the business, and that was always going to happen. But how would I have navigated that? Where would my head have been if if it hadn't been for something that really just gives a slap across the face? I might have just been plodding along. I might have just followed Kirsty's lead, which I've been prone to do in the past. Um, but this really gives us that jolt, yeah, to actually think a bit more productively, proactively, um, take myself out of my comfort zone. A lot of things that were going on that, yeah, I question whether I would have done that without the situation I was put in. Yeah, I'm rambling now, but that is a big realization, I think. And as weird as it is, I do think it has had a massive positive effect on where my life's headed now.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I do think, like, if you look at the actual science behind the nervous system and your capacity and your comfort zone and like all of these things that have been wildly researched, there's so much research out there.
Mm.
It does show that when you push yourself to that limit of what feels comfortable, which I'm pretty sure a cancer diagnosis did that,
I think
you
so.
get through it. Like on the other side, you are an expanded version of yourself. Like whether you want it to be or not, you are. Like it just is the way that it is. And
Yeah.
I mean, people don't have to go and get cancer diagnoses. They can do other things. Like, there's loads of things that you can do to push your comfort zones. But whenever I speak to people, and whether it is, in business, they push themselves to take a risk that they didn't think they could and then it pays off, or whether it is, personally, you run a marathon or you do a sporting event that you never thought you would be able to, or, you go to the gym and you lift heavier than you ever have before, like whatever it is, whatever, like it doesn't have to be anything dramatic, like whatever it
Mm.
is that you've said, your brain is telling you, like, I might not be able to do this, and then you
Mm.
achieve it, it rewires your programming. So you aren't actually the same person that you were when you come out the other side. Like it's physically impossible for that to be the case. And I think
Yeah.
this is what I find so fascinating about a healing journey is no matter what you're healing from, no matter what the starting point is, it's always hard, which means you're always like rewiring that programming, which means you're always coming out as a more like authentic version of yourself, like a more aligned version of who you want to become and what you want to be, which I
Yeah.
think is
Yeah.
really like there is a magic in that. There is a blessing in that. Like even if the thing you
Yeah.
went through is really hard, like there is a blessing in the other side. And once you get to the other side, you can look back and be like, I can see it now. And obviously not saying that we want to wish bad things to happen to people, of course
Of
not.
course
But
not.
I think if you're in those situations and you can come out the other side, like it really does structure and change like how you are being. And I guess like you'd already decided to move over into coaching like before you got the cancer diagnosis, but you have said that you do feel like it's changed how you've gone on that journey and like how you like started the business. So I guess like
100%.
what like obviously you were going to start the business and then you got the cancer diagnosis, so that kind of delayed things a little bit from your point of view.
Mm.
But what has that journey been like from, going employed, self-employed? Like how has it all been?
Um, it's been a tricky one because I've had to stay fully employed for a time whilst we figure things out with the business, and Kirsty's really taken the lead on that. Credit to her. She's set some really strong foundations as far as the business is concerned. She's been working as a coach whilst doing that. Um, so yeah, it's been sort of I've been a little bit hands off for a while just because that was necessitated by the fact that we needed the steady income and that kind of thing. Though I have been supporting her as much as I can, sort of on the sidelines, through things like content creation, helping her with her promotional materials, helping her with things that might where my strengths can really be utilized, things like video editing and stuff like that. Um, and that's been it. So really just adding value where I can, as much as I can, and I'm buffering. um, that's being a part of it as well, like understanding where our strengths lie as well. Like she's very tuned to sort of the business side of things. She's got a degree in business. She's really playing to her strengths with what she's doing now, and the coaching just happens to be another feather in her cap. Like, she's very good at coaching. It comes back to her HR background and what have you. For me, the content creation, the multimedia design, my degrees in psychology, so you can almost see the yin and yang happening there right away, like business degree, psychology degree, but the paths sort of converge around this coaching thing. And it's just being able to be consistent with it as well. So consistency has been a major factor throughout this entire thing, from the diagnosis up to where we are, staying consistent and staying the course. Recognizing the fact that it's not going to be easy, recognizing the fact that challenges are part of the process. Like, if it were easy, then anyone would be doing it, and it wouldn't take a moment like what I've dealt with to really figure that out. I would have been able to coast through it if it had been easy. It's not supposed to be. So learning all these lessons as we go, and then taking those lessons on board. I don't know if I've drifted a little bit with what the original question was. Yeah. It's been a real evolution. Again, from that point up until where we are, evolving, learning things, learning new skills, learning things about how we work together, that dynamic. I mean, we're husband and wife partnership, running a business together. A lot of people hear that and they're like, really? Which I get. I sort of get that, but we've got all the ingredients. We've learned enough during this journey to feel confident that the decision we've made to go down this path is the right one, and we're going to benefit and thrive in it, I think.
Oh, I love that. I think it's, yeah, I'm always really, really in awe of people who start businesses. Like, it is really hard. It's not an easy thing. It takes a while to figure out. It takes a
Yeah.
while to get that courage and test the boundaries and like do all of the things. So I'm always in awe of people who go down that journey. And I do agree, like, if you have healed from something else, it does make this journey, and your level of self-awareness makes this journey a lot easier, which I think is always quite pleasant, which is good. But I guess
Can we just,
like,
I'm so sorry, can we pause? I've just realized my camera's just gone offline. You might see
oh
that I've
yes,
frozen there.
absolutely.
I'm just going to quickly
Oh
see
yeah,
if
I
I can
have
fix
now.
this. Uh,
Absolutely.
Apologies for this.
Don't worry, you're all good.
Right, there we go.
There he is.
And he's back, unfortunately. Let's just set this up.
Never.
There we okay.
There we go. Perfect.
Sorry
Perfect.
about that.
Don't worry at all. We're all good. But yeah, so I think that like when you are going through something and you say like start the business, what for you, like when you actually crossed over from being employed to coming into the business, like how was that like step? Like, did it feel as scary as you thought it would originally, or like did it feel different because of everything that you'd gone through?
Well, as it happens, my transitioning to become fully involved in the business, as I've always planned to, was another one where my hand was forced. So I've actually just been made redundant from my full-time job. So it's just another cruel trick that's been played on us by some higher power, I think. Um, no, but it's all good. And you know what it is? Even this, even this situation, you, it's like I've dealt with that already. This is a cakewalk. This is an absolute cakewalk, this pal. Um, I'm already looking at ways in which I can navigate it. I'm looking for freelance work on the side, see if I can get some income, like coming in as soon as possible. I've got the skills that can enable that. But it's also making us think, right, so what can we do with the time that you've got? You know, you've just been made redundant. We're not entirely skint right this moment. There is an element of, needing to get things sorted as quickly as possible. There is a time limit to this, but we're handed another opportunity. It's another opportunity. Like it could be seen as, oh, that's crap, and oh, why is it always happening to me? And and anyone would be forgiven for that. But like, nah, this is another chance. There's another chance to do something different, something exciting, and really grab the bull by the horns, as I said earlier. So to answer your question, like the transition has been abrupt, but in a good way, in a really good way. So we're really just sort of figuring it out now as we go. Like we're now in that moment as we speak. We're now like planning and coming up with ideas and getting creative. And there's some things in the pipeline that we're really excited about as well.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Redundancy is it's always a fun way to start a business. It's how I started mine. So, I'm a decade in now and I'm loving it. So I think you're on the right path. Don't worry.
There we
It's
go.
all
I'll take
good.
that. I'll take that as encouragement. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take it. It's great. Okay, so in I guess so I know from knowing yourself and Kirsty that your kind of focus is supporting men, you know, in your kind of coaching business. And I
Yeah.
guess I'd like to kind of angle the advice section. We always ask for advice for our listeners. I'd like to kind of angle the advice section to the people that you will be supporting, like in your business as you kind of go forward. And if there are men listening to the podcast, we do have loads of them who are wondering, like maybe they're feeling a bit stuck, maybe they're kind of plodding along and they're not going to have something as hectic as a cancer diagnosis come into their life,
Yeah.
but what could they be doing to start to sort of shift in the way that they are looking at life? Like what are the ways and the advice that you would give somebody to actually start going through their healing journey?
This is going to sound really simple to start with, but there is should we say, a philosophy that's maybe over egging it behind it. And that's do your best. Do your best because your best can be many things. Your best could be um, doing the thing that you're doing better, like with more energy, more focus. It could also translate to something like bashing your head against the wall. Um, for me, doing my best now, as I look back and I think about when I've done my best, is all about figuring out what that is first. There is a better way. That's the thinking. It's like I could have just stuck with me day job, which paid well enough, and we'll imagine that the redundancy was never looming. I could have just carried on like that and maybe worked my way up the career ladder, which would have been doable. Um, was that giving us everything that I needed, everything that I wanted? No. Would I have thought differently about those circumstances and whether that would I have ever have broken away from that pathway without the cancer diagnosis? I might not have, as I've already sort of admitted to. Um, so yeah, I suppose as far as advice is concerned, it's like, okay, treat this as a wake up call, not a wake up call, but treat this as almost like a nudge to say, are there things that you're doing that maybe you could be doing differently or doing better? And what does that look like? What is right for you in that moment? Uh, I'll tell you an example of this, and it's nothing to do with work. It's nothing to do with careers or health or anything like that. I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and I'll obviously not name names or anything like that, but he came out with something very wise, which I was shocked at because he's thick as mince. Um, he said so basically he was talking about his relationships moving forward. He's no longer he's not in a relationship at the minute, and he was talking about relationships moving forward. So we were like, so me and another lad were like, oh, so what you got any rods in the fire and what's going on? Like, you been putting the feelers out? And he's like, nah, I haven't. He says, you know what it is? I've figured out that I think in order for me to have another relationship, a good relationship, I have to have a better relationship with myself. And it took him a while to figure that out because someone in his circumstances might be thinking they need to get back on a horse. You know, you've heard that term before. You need to get back on a horse. You just, meet the right person. Just need to get myself out there, put myself out there, right? But are you really in the right position to be doing that? And when he came out with that, I was like, brilliant, brilliant, that mate. And I think that attitude can absolutely be extrapolated and applied to loads of different contexts. And as impressed as I am with him and what he said in that moment, I think about what I've been doing with work and choices I've made in life, and I think, yeah, that's it. That's the secret sauce. That's the way to go.
I love that. That's literally, and like as you said, like it's so simple, but it is so relatable and so translatable to everything.
Yeah.
Like actually, if every time you do something, you just go out and do your best in that moment for the thing that you're doing,
hmm
that will be a path that will set you on a better path. Like every single time. Because I think it is like as you said, like it's so easy to just slip into that pattern of life. Like we go to work, we come home. When we get home, we eat dinner, veg out for a bit, go to bed, probably scroll on our phone for too long, like don't drink enough water. Like it's just so easy to fall into the patterns
100%.
of everything that's around you and
Yeah.
what's expected of, how people are supposed to be and like all of these things. And when you actually step back and you're like, but what do I actually want to be doing with my time? How do I actually want to be living? Like, what do I actually want to put as a priority? What do I want to focus on? Like, even just asking those questions, like, how could I better use my time? Like,
hmm
even that is like such a great starting point to shift your whole life and like what you're focusing on.
And when I say do your best, obviously that's the hook. But really, the long answer is do the best for you. What's best for you? Understand that as your starting point, and then everything will spin out the way that it should do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do think, like, going back to your friend who had this amazing realization, like, I do think, like, exactly what he said, but what you just said, like combined as one thing, in like the better he knows himself, the better he can choose a partner who is going to be good for him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's it.
it's such a, like, it's such a, I don't know, like a thing that we see in the world at the moment where people will pick partners and then they will want to change them. And this goes both ways, men and women. Like they'll pick a partner and then they'll be like, oh no, but this person doesn't meet my needs and I want them to do this and be like this and change this and like do all of these things. And it's like, yeah, but you pick that path. You pick that person. You pick the wrong person to start with. Like
Yeah.
you can't pick the person, go all in, and then say, actually, you're not the person that I want. Like
Sure.
we have to know what we want as that starting point and then be able to say, okay, this is the situation. And I think that that goes for everything. Like that goes for the job that you want, it goes for where you want to live, it goes for how you want to spend your time. Like as soon as you know and you can actually say, well, this is actually what I want to do, rather than I'm just going to take anything I can get and then be annoyed that it's not the thing that I want. But I
Yeah.
do think so many people live their lives like that, where they're just like, oh, well, I ended up going and doing this thing and I didn't actually want to do it. And you're
hmm
like, well, why? Like, why did you go and like go down that path? But so many people are just plodding through life, like just
hmm
going through the motions. So
It's
I think
easy.
that that's
It's
such a
too easy.
nice way. It is, yeah. And it's been
It's
made easy.
Yeah, and that is exactly why it's so easy because it has been made easy. And in a lot of instances, I think we even encouraged just to go down that route. Just whether that's through your upbringing, your peer groups, whatever, you just sort of conform and think the decisions are made for you. Like that, people don't realize what's on the table, what's out there, what's available, what control you have to manifest your own destiny, I suppose. So
Mm-hmm.
it's recognizing that from the first instance. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. And I do like when you look at all of the media, social media, print media, like billboards, like movies, just everything that we look at, everything that we watch, everything that we engage with, there is always this like underlying message in all of it about consumption,
Oh, yes.
about,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, how
Now we're
much
getting
we
into
could
it.
get. Yeah, yeah, there we go. Here we go. But it is like it's so true. There's always this like underlying like how much can you earn? Like what does success mean? Like there's
Yes, yeah.
all of these underlyings and it's so important. Like for me, I feel really passionate about this because obviously from a woman's point of view, I think that there's like a whole story there, but I think men get a really, really bad end of the stick because they are fed so many mixed messages about being a provider, but then not letting girls take advantage of them, about, you know, being, you know, strong, but then you can't be too emotional because like that is a bad thing. Like they're just
Mm.
fed so many mixed messages that it's like, how do you actually exist as a human in this world and be
Yeah,
okay with that process? Like
yeah.
it just
You hit the nail
it
on the head.
really saddens me for the generation that we've like that are coming up in this world at the moment.
And it gives rise to things that we've seen in the media, and there's documentaries which we won't name because I don't know whether you want to get that topical, but like we know what we're talking about, and it's such a difficult landscape to navigate for men now. And it informs my practice as a coach. So it is about understanding, what's right for you. Going back to that whole thing about, what's best for you, because what's best for you can't be prescribed. That's what people are missing the point on. It's like they think that a lot of people are being fed these messages and being told what to think and how to feel and what they should do, and the conflicting messages doesn't help, and men are being left confused by it all, and it leads them down rabbit holes and feeling certain ways. I mean, male suicide. I absolutely believe that all the things we're talking about now are contributing factors to all of that. So when I think
100%.
about why I approach coaching, it's not just a career choice for me. It's hopefully to put some good back in the world and to provide some real benefit and real value for men that need it. Yeah, I'm thinking about sort of my different types of coaching. So there's ways of coaching where like I might do like an elongated uh, over a protracted period of time, we'll do regular coaching sessions, and that might be one approach. It might just be like a short, sharp, let's get on a call and let's figure out where you're currently at and what your next step looks like, and something in between as well. And I need to come up with snappy titles for these things so people know what they're signing up for. And one of them is break the cycle.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that's it. Like I feel like a lot of men, I mean, even outside of what we're talking about now, like even just the very simple um lived experience of feeling like you're on a hamster wheel. Like I just need to get through the next day. I just need to get through the next day. I've got a family to feed. I've got clothes to put them in. I've got to keep the lights on, the heating on. I might be able to afford going for a pint at the weekend, and it goes on and it continues. Like even just that, like I'm sure there's a lot of men, and I felt it myself, are thinking, is that it? Is that all I get to look forward to?
Oh,
I
and
think
don't
that kind
forget
of
your one holiday a year.
yeah, of course, of course. Oh, and I might get away to
Don't forget
Benidorm
that. That's
for the
what it's all
week.
for. Your one holiday a year.
Yeah,
Don't forget
yeah.
about that one.
And the fact is, I mean, and I've done it myself, where you look forward so much to that holiday, it's almost sad. Dare I say. And that's not to say that going on holiday is sad or anyone should feel, you know, this isn't a judgment. This is like if you take a step out, if you take a step back and look at it from a sort of helicopter view, what is this? What is this life about? And yeah, like my 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, keep the bills paid, occasional pint, one holder, rinse and repeat until you retire. And when are you going to retire? It's getting later and later in life now anyway. Um, yeah, it's just, and you know what it is? Again, it's not a judgment. Some people might be perfectly happy with that, and I respect that. I totally respect
Yeah.
that. The point I'm trying to make is that it all boils down to a choice. If you choose that life and you want that life because it gives you satisfaction, excellent. Don't change a thing. Do not change a thing. I'm not going to try and tell you to do anything other. If you aren't happy with that life, if you're sort of coming from it from the position that I am, where it's like this doesn't sit right with me, this can't just be it. I'm with you on that, and that's where my coaching can help.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like I do like agree that there are absolutely people who love that structure,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's wonderful. Like we need people like them in the world, 100%. Like we can't all be like us because the world would be
yeah.
crazy.
Can't all be weirdos like us.
No, absolutely not. But I do think like I massively have that same like that same feeling of even if you are happy being employed, even if you are happy with that cycle, like there can still be more enjoyment in the day-to-day moments. Like there can still be more in
Of course.
what you're doing, how you're showing up, like what you're feeling. And I do, yeah, I mean, all of these topics, like the topic of suicide is like a massive, it's a massive thing for me. Like, yeah, I just feel like it shouldn't be something that people are going through. Like, people shouldn't get to that point. We should have way more systems in place to be able to support people and help people who are not feeling, well enough. And I mean, I speak from experience. Like, I was massively depressed, and I absolutely had, those thoughts of like, is there even any point to this? Like, should
Yeah,
I even be here?
yeah.
And it's like, it's not something I would wish on my worst enemy. Like, it's not something that people should have to go through. And I'm such a big advocate of people just reaching out and speaking to somebody, just, you know, saying to somebody, actually, I don't feel okay. This isn't, like, life isn't going as I want, because I do feel like a lot of the time, and I don't know if this is a girl thing, you can tell me, Aunt, you can tell me, but a lot of the time, like, just sometimes, like, saying out loud, like, even if there's no solution, even if there's no plan, like, even if you're not fixing the problem, like, actually just like voicing can make such a difference to what you're going through, because it just gets it out of your head. And I feel like things inside your head always seem like way more dramatic and way more unconquerable. And then when you actually say them out loud, you're like, oh, actually, this isn't so bad.
I need to make another plug here. Can I? So
Do it.
it's so on topic. Part of doing my best, and it's almost an there's almost a element of self-preservation involved as well. Is I volunteer for a men's mental health charity called Men Walking and Talking. It's another thing I don't know if I would have done if things hadn't panned out the way that they had. So I volunteer for this. It's really simple. Where I'm based, there's the city of Gateshead. There was a cafe on the riverfront called the Staith's Cafe. Anyone in the Northeast listen to this? Staith's Cafe every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. And we meet, me and other men who want this space, want to be able to do what you just said there, which is get those thoughts out of their head, have a conversation with their peers, with like-minded individuals. This is the space to do it. It's comfortable, it's easy going, and we just go for a nice walk. We go walk, all the way down the quayside. We take in some of the sights of the city centre, both quayside and Newcastle. And we spend about an hour, 15 minutes just on a walk, just as buddies, as pals, shoulder to shoulder. I think there's something in that as well about the whole shoulder to shoulder piece, because men probably aren't. You asked the question: is this a girl thing? Is it a women thing? I don't think men will instinctively go down that route of speaking up and out loud. And certainly when it comes to having conversations, that's even more difficult. But there's something in it, being able to walk shoulder to shoulder. You don't have to look the person in the face, you have to just get that thought out your head while you're taking in your environment as you're on this walk. And someone's right there by your side is listening, if you want them to. The thing is, these walks, you don't have to go down and talk. You don't have to share those things, but the space is available. And I think that's key, as opposed to someone who thinks to themselves, I've got a lot that I'm on my plate here. And any other outlet like therapy or something like that might just feel like something they're absolutely not going to do. The barriers are too stuck, like too firm, too strong, that they're not going to be able to break that down and actually take that leap. But something as easy and as accessible as what we're providing, like, I just think it's a really good thing. And that's why I signed up in the first place. So had to get that out there because it just felt so on point.
Oh, you can plug that any day. You're allowed to plug that any day that you want. I think that literally, I think every city should have initiatives like that. Like,
It does.
I
Well,
think we
it's
should
not
have
every
them all
single
over the
city,
world.
but it is nationwide. It is nationwide. So anyone listening to this who isn't from the Northeast, look up the website, Men Walking and Talking. If you Google it, Men Walking and Talking, you'll find it. I think the website's just menwalkingandtalking.co.uk. And they're up and down the country, north, south, east, west. Just have a look.
Literally love that. Oh, I love that. And for anybody listening who's not in the UK, like, look and see if your country has
Something
these
like that, yeah.
types of initiatives, because they probably do. And I think that
They
it's so
probably do, yeah.
important.
There's
Yeah,
they're
it's
sprouting up
literally
everywhere.
so.
There's loads of different initiatives going appearing that do similar things. Andy's Man Club is another one. It's really popular in the UK, but the format is so easy and so accessible that it feels like, yeah, there's a bit of a movement, bit of a shift in where people are saying, oh, this is so easy to sort of to provide. Like, we can do this. All you need is a meeting space, and then you just go for a walk. Like, that is so easy to facilitate. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would be surprised if you're anywhere else in the world and there isn't something like that.
I literally love that so much. And like also it's a double like a double win there because going out, walking, moving your body is
Yes,
also so good for your nervous system, so good for your
definitely.
regulation, like so good. So if you've got men who are working all the time, like not really getting out, not really doing like activities, etc., like this is such a great way for them to start that motion of building a better life. So yeah, as I said, you can plug this all day long. This is this is incredible. This is exactly why we run the podcast, exactly why we do the thing. Okay, so final question for you. And this is
Mhm.
always my favorite one, just because I'm nosy and I love it. So your next level of healing, like you've gone through more than most people, like you're coming into and out of redundancy at the moment. But what is your next level of focus at the moment for your journey?
Well, you've used the perfect word there. It is a journey, and I think it is just staying the course. Um, Reminding myself always that there are going to be challenges that need to be faced, and it's about navigating those challenges. Um, yeah, this is going to sound so crap. Love the process. Makes us feel sick when I say it, but unfortunately, there's a lot of value in it. It does actually matter. Um,
It does.
yeah, it's like we get so hung up on things like outcomes and what the reward looks like at the end of the journey, and we think that's the thing, and that's going to give us the satisfaction, that's going to give us the happiness. No, the happiness comes from the journey, the process. As long as you get that right, as long as you're doing something that's giving you happiness in the moment, and I've talked about this when I promote my coaching on social media as well. Like, as long as you get that right, all those things that you consider an outcome, a reward, those things will happen, but they're no longer the end goal, they're milestones. They're just things that happen along the journey, things that you can feel happy about and enjoy and feel proud of whilst continuing that journey. So it's just having really that better relationship with what your goals are and what your aspirations are, and not getting too focused on, the end goal. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, absolutely. I think that that is a great focus. I think yeah, I massively agree, especially when you run a business. If you don't love the journey, it is going to be a very, very hard slog. Like,
It's
it's going
it's
to be
where
near impossible.
that's the thing, and the problem is some people don't recognize that, and the downside to not understanding that is that they'll beat themselves up. They'll think, why can't I stay consistent? Why can't I be accountable? Why do I find this so difficult? Maybe because it's something you don't really want to do. Maybe you need to take a step back and think, what is it that you actually want to do? What is going to give you that fulfillment, that satisfaction as you do the
Mm.
thing? Again, it's not an end goal that you should be thinking about. It should be what you can be doing in the moment. And maybe that end goal becomes a reward and what have you. But yeah, it's understanding what that process looks like, and enjoying that process.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Okay, this has been absolutely wonderful. I've loved this conversation. As we wrap up, we always will share details of our speakers, obviously in the show notes, so you guys can reach out. If anybody wants coaching, definitely, obviously reach out. That would be
By all
amazing.
means.
Um, Honestly, it has been such an honor to have you on the podcast and to spend this time getting to know you and sharing your story. So thank you so much for being part of the journey. Thank you for listening to another inspiring episode of the Diary of Discovery. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends, family, or anyone else you think might benefit from the stories of hope and transformation. Your feedback means the absolute world to us, so please take a moment to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your reviews help us to reach even more listeners and continue to bring this meaningful content to the world. Until next time, remember, your healing journey is valid. You are never alone, and you have the strength to get through this. Keep shining bright, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Diary of Discovery.